Greetings and salutations, everybody. Hope you're well today. It's noon, so we're live from the man cave yet again. I'm pretty lucky to have my little man cave here. It's really the only spot in my house that's mine. I'm good with that. As I've stated before, if you want to come to my man cave, you actually have to make an appointment. Yeah. Anyway, it's just how it is. It's been a beehive of activity. That's one of my dad's old sayings. Beehive. It's been a beehive of activity here at the man cave. Not just this morning, but yesterday. So, man, there's just no telling what's going to happen during live today. Because I got a bunch of stuff here all over the place. Have no idea where we're going with it necessarily. You know, we had trouble with Facebook on Monday, and I'm looking at Facebook right now, and it's doing weird things. Who the hell knows? I don't know. So we're just going to continue to rock and roll here. Good Wednesday to you all. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Won't you be my neighbor? And it's just kind of nice that the sun's out and it's warming up. I'm looking at my garden out here through the window. And yeah, things are coming up there too. Life is good. Life is good. All right. Last Monday previous, this one, 2 days ago, we talked about the lack of common sense, or just the death of common sense. And I told you guys back on Monday that I was going to have my video blog up, which I finally, well, I've recorded it. The text of the video blog is up and ready to go at chefjordan.com on the Intentional Faith blog page. So check it out. I'll have the video up later if you just want to listen to it. There's a lot of electronics, technological stuff there. I don't know what's wrong with my Facebook video here. It's doing weird things. So if you're on Facebook, I apologize. Instagram, you're looking pretty good. Anyway. So we're going to continue with the death of common sense today and kind of pick up where we left off and just add a couple of more things. And then we'll be done. So on Monday we talked about definitions of common sense. There's secular definitions, which means non-biblical. And then there are biblical definitions. And the key there is wisdom. Secular pretty much doesn't add wisdom into their definition, but biblical, it's all about having that wisdom. And we mentioned the, how do you know not to stick your hand in the fire? Well, somebody told you not to do that originally, didn't they? But you don't know why unless you actually do it, and then you get that wisdom along with the knowledge. So there's the difference. And today, part of what we want to talk about today is how do you tell fact from fiction? Yeah, we're going to talk about anger a little bit too. So here we go. The key to all of this, the key to common sense, and this is in my video blog, is education. Yeah, education. Now, going back to the book of Proverbs, my favorite book of the whole Bible, practically. What does it say about education? Well, in Proverbs chapter 22, verse 6, here's what it says. Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. Oh, man, that sounds pretty good, doesn't it? But here's the thing. If you train up a child to be an axe murderer, then when they get old, what are they going to be? They're going to be an axe murderer. So that's great advice from Proverbs, and it's true. But you got to train them up the correct way, don't you? All right. So if you don't train them up correctly, what happens? Ooh. Now, those of you lucky souls who had me as a history teacher back in the day, I'm sure you still have nightmares remembering the first day of class where I put the following quotation by Cicero. Remember him? Well, I put the following quotation by Cicero up on the board. This is the first day of class. And the quotation is, "Not to know what happened before you were born is to be forever a child." Now, if you're one of my former students, my millennials, and you're listening to this right now, you're probably having shakes and trembling and stuff, because you remember my assignment to you that first day was take this quote and in one page, tell me what it means and bring that in tomorrow. Remember those? Remember those days? Yeah. What's the point here? I mean, is it really that tough? Well, I guess if you're in 10th grade history, the first day after summer, it is pretty tough because your brain's not working yet. But it's pretty simple. What Cicero is saying is if you don't know any history at all, then you're going to be stupid the rest of your life. Now, I'm pretty much paraphrasing, but what he's saying, if you don't know what happened before you were born, how do you expect to know anything? So you'll only be, have the smarts of a child, which to me means you're not going to have any common sense. Okay, so that's why we study history. So you look at Proverbs 22:6, train up a child in the way he should go. And then you look at Cicero, who basically says if you don't study history at all, you're going to be a moron your whole life. Well, I want to share with you something I read in another article. We talked about articles on Monday that I had clipped out. Here's another one right here. Another clip, and it's by a guy named Cal Thomas. He's a conservative guy, but he talks about author David Rubenstein, who wrote a book called The American Story, Conversations with Master Historians. Okay, so what, Shep? So what? Well, here's what Mr. Rubenstein uncovered in his research for his book. Are you sitting down? Are you ready for this? Okay, you ready? It's sad. Here's what he found. Today, you can graduate from any college in the United States of America without having to take an American history class. But it gets worse. Okay, you ready for this? And you can graduate as a history major from 80% of the colleges in America without having to take an American history course. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Well, if Cicero were alive, he'd just be nodding his head going, uh-huh. That's why nobody gets it in this country anymore, because you're not teaching it. All right, I'm on my soapbox. I get it. I'm an educator. But this is why I think we're having issues in the country right now, because many of us have no clue what the hell we're talking about when we try to engage in meaningful discourse about the country. Most people don't even know how this country works because they were never taught. It's sad. It's sad, but it's true. Okay. You remember I mentioned this letter to the editor on Monday from a local lady, I guess, and there are a couple of things in here. I don't know if I talked about them, but here's a couple of, and this also, to go along with those stats I just gave to you. She says, listen to this, only by teaching about our nation's history and organizational foundation, including both the positive and negative aspects of our past, can we hope to be the America envisioned by our founders. Why are we only teaching things that fit a certain narrative? We have to give the good and the bad, do we not? If we don't do that, then like Cicero said, we're going to be forever children. That is the part. Thank you, Terry Linval, for telling me that Rome got rid of Cicero, probably because he was such a smart guy. Oh boy, some people. Thanks for tuning in. The point is, ladies and gentlemen, facts are facts. Too often now, we're giving opinions to make facts. It's not facts at all. It's opinion. Got to teach it all so that we know. Okay, where else am I going with this? Oh, excuse me, I have some more notes. Let's talk about anger. Anybody pissed off other than me? I'm okay. Okay, so why is teaching things based on fact, whether good or bad, why is that so important? Well, it's important because the first essential ingredient of common sense is what? It's knowledge. It's knowledge. Jeez. But it must be knowledge based on fact rather than supposed facts that fit a certain narrative. It just has to be. Aren't we smart enough to figure things out if we know the facts? I think we are. Okay. Let's talk about anger. Let me get my notes. Okay, I've done that. I've done all that, Shep. Okay. Now, I've told you guys many times, my sweet mama never graduated from high school. World War II got in the way. But she had more common sense than any individual I've ever known in my entire life. And sometimes that really pissed me off because she would tell me things I knew were right and it's not what I wanted to hear. But you know, every time that I would get angry at something or someone who had a different viewpoint than my own, she would always look at me and go, you know what? There's two sides to every story. Thanks, Mom. Jeez. Golly. But here's the point. And I go back to my letter to the editor that's 2 years old. Here's what this lady says about two sides to every story. She said, listen carefully, think critically, and carefully weigh diverse opinions. Oh, God, what great advice. Let me translate that for you if that was confusing. In other words, before you start complaining, making accusations, and hating, first, make sure you fully understand and respect the other side of the story. Now, that doesn't mean you have to agree, okay? But you should respect that someone may have an opinion that's different than yours. That's okay. You know what else my mom used to say? She used to say, you know what? If we all thought the same way, the world would be very boring. God damn, she wasn't right. Yet again. I want to talk to you about the Dalai Lama. You familiar with him? His Eminence, His Holiness, His whateverness. But he is an amazing guy. And consider this quote from the Dalai Lama. As human beings, we need to assess whether anger has any value. Think about that. It destroys our peace of mind. You think? Here's what he says. Compassion, on the other hand, brings optimism and hope. Raise your hand if you could use a little optimism and hope right now. Okay. Thank you. I certainly could, and so could you. Where do you get that? Compassion. Okay. You know, a natural byproduct of failing to understand and respect all sides of an issue is anger, isn't it? Okay. There really is no shortage of anger in our country right now, if you consider that. And you know who's really happy about that? Excuse me. Satan. Yeah, him, the evil one. He could not be happier at what's happening in the world right now with all the anger and the hate and discontent. Consider that. I'm okay. All right, so where do we go from here? You know where I'm going to go with this. It starts with the face in the mirror, everybody, doesn't it? It starts with you. We all have a choice. We all have a choice. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to challenge you and myself to choose optimism and hope, like the Dalai Lama said. Choose optimism and hope when you engage with others on any topic, especially the controversial ones. And there are a lot of controversial ones right now. But you're always going to have to be armed with true knowledge that comes from education, not opinion. The only way to do that is to be vigilant in seeking the truth and not to depend on easy sources that only present their opinion rather than actual fact. And I hope some of this is making sense to you guys. And I'm an educator, so, you know, I've studied this kind of stuff, and I've looked at it. Early, my brother at says, boring can be good sometime. Sure. Thanks for the input. Terry Limbaugh thinks I'm a smartass. Thank you. I take that as a compliment. Thank you very much. You're not the only one. All right, here's a final thought to leave with you guys, all you history scholars. This is History 101. Maybe you knew this, maybe you didn't, but it really much proves everything I'm trying to point out to you guys today. There were two founding fathers. Well, there were more than two, but two of them, John Adams and Thomas Jefferson. And they were known to really hate each other, despise each other. Yeah, they really did. Yet, they both had a lot of respect for the other. Now, I'm sure that the hatred there had a lot to do with enormous egos. And we know how that works. But nevertheless, they had a tremendous amount of respect for each other. And that, can you figure out why that is? You ever wondered why? Well, I would contend that they were both highly intelligent and educated men whose views were based on fact and a deep desire to make our new country work. Yeah. Two guys with different views on facts working together to make our country work. And what I've said in my blog post is worthy foes working for a cause greater than themselves. Do we do that anymore in this country? Do we do anything to benefit for the greater good better than ourselves? Doesn't seem like we do anymore. But here are two guys, two brilliant men, highly educated, who had different opinions of things, but they work together for the greater good. What a valuable and timeless lesson they taught all of us. All right, I know I've thrown a lot at you today. Cicero, David Rubenstein, the author, the Dalai Lama. Okay, don't be overwhelmed. I'm just trying to make a point, ladies and gentlemen. We're making it more difficult it is. But if you're not just a little concerned about the state of civility in the country right now, then you may be part of the problem. But I can tell you the huge part of the problem is education. And I was in this world for a long time, and more and more we're getting away from teaching it how it is and then learning how to get value out of that knowledge, how to get wisdom. Man, I hope it comes back someday, because my time's done. All I can do is just live from the man cave, and Facebook driving me crazy with a picture right now. I don't know. It's crazy. All right. So that's pretty much it for today. Things in my world are going it's like I said, it's a beehive of activity. We're doing best we can. A lot going on. Come on back Friday for Live at the Man Cave, and we'll end up the week. We'll talk about your wins and some of the things you wanted to be accountable for. I'm grateful for you. If you're joining me, please go to my webpage, chefjordan.com. Intentional Faith blog. We'll have the video up this afternoon. Just takes a lot of time to load that sucker up. Yeah, it's just one thing after another, but we're getting there. Yeah, and so we have Monday Morning Moments there. A lot of stuff going on. So come on back Friday. And until then, I just want to say, may the Lord of peace himself give you peace at all times and in every way. The Lord be with all of you. I appreciate you. I'm grateful for you. Stay strong. Keep the faith. Come on back Friday. We'll see you then. Bye now.